Every morning for a month, a stranger left a small, hand-carved wooden bird on my porch. I finally waited up all night to see who was behind it. The first one appeared on a rainy Tuesday. It was a tiny sparrow carved from light cedar, sitting perfectly centered on my welcome mat. I thought a neighbor's child had dropped a toy, so I set it on the railing, expecting someone to claim it. But the next morning, there was a robin, then a cardinal. By the third week, my windowsill was lined with an entire silent flock of wooden birds, all crafted with such incredible detail that they almost looked ready to fly. I live in a quiet neighborhood where people mostly keep to themselves, and the sudden, anonymous attention started to feel heavy. I found myself checking the locks twice at night and glancing over my shoulder whenever I walked to my car. I started waking up at odd hours, hoping to catch a glimpse of a car driving away or a shadow retreating into the trees, but I never saw anything. The birds just appeared, like they were being breathed into existence between 3 o'clock and 4 a.m. My friends told me to call the police, saying it was stalker behavior, while my sister thought it was a beautiful mystery. But for me, the silence of the gift was the most unsettling part. Why me? Why birds? I began to feel a strange pressure, like someone was watching me, waiting for me to understand a message I hadn't been given. The suspense grew so thick that I couldn't focus at work, my mind constantly looping back to the mysterious woodcarver who knew exactly where I lived. Last night, I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I didn't turn on a single light. I sat in my dark living room with a cup of cold coffee, staring through the narrow gap in the blinds, watching the empty street. Hours crawled by. The wind rustled the bushes, and every shadow seemed to take the shape of a person. Finally, just as the sky was turning a bruised shade of purple before dawn, a small, silver car pulled up silently at the curb. A figure stepped out, not a hooded stranger or a mysterious man, but an elderly woman I recognized from the local library. She walked up my path with a limp, set a final, small carving down, and lingered for just a second, touching the wood of my front door with a gentle, shaking hand before turning to leave. I opened the door before she could reach her car, the cold morning air rushing into the house. She froze, her shoulders tensing as she slowly turned around to face me, her eyes wide with embarrassment. I held out the small carving, a delicate dove, and asked her, "Why are you doing this? Do I know you?" She looked at the ground, her voice a fragile whisper as she explained that she was the mother of the man who had received my late husband's heart in a transplant 3 years ago. She told me that she had been too overwhelmed to write a letter, but she just wanted the person who shared her son's heartbeat to know that he was still surrounded by beauty. Everything clicked into place as she looked at me with tears in her eyes, finally letting go of the secret she had been carrying. I realized then that I wasn't being watched. I was being looked after by a mother who just needed to stay close to the only part of her son that was still out in the world.